My father died only a few months ago, and losing him completely shattered our family. So when my fiancé proposed, it felt like the first moment of light after a very long, dark time. But at my engagement party, my mother stood up, took the microphone, and announced she was marrying my late father's best friend. What I learned later made it even worse. Now my family says I'm cruel for how I reacted. So Reddit, am I the asshole? I'm 27 years old, and my father was the most stable, loving person in our family. He was the anchor, the one who held everything together with his quiet strength and unwavering support. His death was sudden, a heart attack that came out of nowhere, and none of us were prepared for it, especially my mother. For months, everything felt heavy. Our home, which used to be filled with laughter and his favorite music, fell silent. Holidays, which were once his favorite time of year, became painful reminders of his absence. Every conversation felt unfinished, like we were all waiting for him to walk back through the door. When my fiancé proposed, it was the first time I felt a genuine spark of joy in what felt like forever. My mother cried, holding me tight, and told me how proud my father would have been. Her words meant the world to me. That's why we decided to have a small engagement celebration. It wasn't about throwing a huge, extravagant party. We wanted something intimate, respectful, and low-key, just close family and friends who understood what we'd all been through. It was meant to be a meaningful moment, a step towards a new chapter while still honoring the memory of the person we missed so dearly. We just wanted to feel a little bit of happiness again, together. The night of the engagement, our home was filled with people we loved. There were photos of my fiancé and me, soft music playing in the background, and a few simple speeches planned. My fiancé's father said a few words, my best friend shared a funny story, and it all felt warm and perfect. At one point, my mother walked over and asked for the microphone. I smiled, thinking she was going to share a memory of my dad or offer us a blessing. I handed it to her, expecting a sweet, motherly speech. Instead, she took a deep breath, smiled nervously at the crowd, and said, "I have some happy news of my own." The room quieted instantly. You could feel the collective curiosity. Then she said it. "I'm getting married." People looked confused at first. A few guests exchanged glances. Then before anyone could fully process it, she announced who she was marrying. My stomach dropped. She was marrying my late father's best friend. A man who had been a fixture in our lives for decades. A man who came to every family dinner, every birthday, every holiday. A man who stood next to my father at his wedding and held me as a baby. The room erupted into applause and cheers. People were congratulating them, rushing to hug her. And I just sat there, frozen in my chair. It wasn't just the announcement itself. It was the timing. It was the place. It was the fact that she chose my engagement, the first truly happy moment our family had experienced since my father's death, to share her news. I felt completely invisible at my own celebration. My joy was overshadowed in an instant. Later that night, long after most of the guests had left and the forced smiles had faded, one of my aunts pulled me aside. She looked worried. She told me there was something I needed to know, something that put the entire evening in a much darker context. That's when I learned the truth. This man wasn't just my father's lifelong best friend. He was also my mother's ex-boyfriend from before she ever met my father. They had dated seriously, and when they broke up, he remained friends with her. Later he met my dad and they became inseparable. But my father never knew about their romantic history. My mother had kept it a secret from him for their entire marriage. Hearing that made everything feel so much heavier, so much more complicated. This wasn't just a grieving widow finding comfort with a family friend. This felt like a long-held secret that was finally coming to light under the most painful circumstances. I felt sick. When I finally found the courage to confront my mother, her response broke my heart all over again. She just waved her hand and said, "Oh, that was long before your father. It doesn't matter anymore." She told me she deserved to be happy and that my father would have wanted her to move on. But I couldn't stop thinking, if she lied to my father, the man she supposedly loved, for their entire life together, how am I supposed to trust anything she says now? This wasn't just about who she was marrying. It was about a lifetime of secrets. It was about the complete lack of respect for my engagement, for my grief and for my father's memory. Now my family is divided. Some of them are telling me I'm being judgmental, bitter, and selfish. They say grief makes people do strange things and that I should just be supportive of my mother's happiness. But I feel so betrayed by the public announcement at my party, by the lifelong secret she kept from my dad, and by the way my first moment of joy was completely hijacked to become her moment. I feel like my grief for my father is now tangled up with this new layer of deception and disrespect. So Reddit, I have to ask, am I the asshole for being upset that my mother announced her marriage to my late father's best friend, her secret ex, at my engagement party? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.